Thank you for joining me once again. Hi, my name is Linda Ndungane and welcome to Thriving with Linda. So, really, this series is for people who have a strong desire and determination to stay positive, stay focused, and succeed. I share what I have learned, what I have seen work from people who definitely know better than me, and those who are willing to share their experiences so we can help each other and grow. Hi, Bobby. I'm so grateful that you made the time for us to have this conversation about our greatest passion, which is employer branding and making sure that we show up well as individuals and organizations as well. As specialists in this area, it's quite important for us to upskill each other and also share awareness with people around us, right?
Yes.
So I would like you to just briefly introduce yourself and for us to have a conversation about employer branding.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Linda, for having me today. It's always nice speaking to you. We always have conversations and go on and on about employer branding and how we can assist in all these other areas, which make it awesome. But I am Bobby, like Linda mentioned. I am the former country manager for Universum Communications Global. But currently, I'm the founder of ebkoach, which is a coaching service that helps you to understand your employer brand and helps you strengthen your workplace culture. So, coming back to the roots of what employer branding is. So, that's where I went, like down low.
Ah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So you're the best person actually for us to have this conversation with because I want us to quickly unpack by you explaining, right, what employer branding is and why it
Mm.
actually matters.
All right. So, coming to the root of things. So basically what employer branding is it shows the outward side of what an employer would like their brand perception to be seen like by talent. So in simpler terms, if I had to put in simpler terms, when you write your business plan, that part that says about us, who we are, that is what represents your employer brand. So that's the roots, the authenticity of who you want to be, who you've been, who you are planning to be, who you want to grow into be. So employer brand actually takes that space and materializes it and visualizes it for people to see who you really want to represent. Because as we see, we change as we grow, things come and go, and we are interested in different things in life, but your employer brand will always be authentic to you as much as you grow. So
And I
that's why I
like
had to mention that.
I like the fact that you mentioned the word or you've used the word authentic quite a few times, right? How does one create an authentic employer brand?
Mm-mm. So I think a lot of companies in the past few years that I've noticed is they try to copy and paste a lot of things. So
Mm,
yes, they could be authentic in what they're doing. I mean, authenticity is just you doing something that's a bit different from what the original is. But you need to be unique and original in the way that you do things. So, like I mentioned with the About Us, your About Us section or who you are section doesn't always look like somebody else's. It will always be you. For example, my favorite color is purple and it'll always be purple. So
yeah.
regardless of how I grow or how I grow from as young as I can be, it can be lilac one day, but it has to be a variation of purple. That's what makes me feel original, makes me who I am. So what I've noticed, a lot of companies will say, "Ish, yeah, my favorite is purple, but hey, pink looks like it's in because it's Barbie season. Let me run
Let me
after the
latch
pink."
on. Yeah, yeah.
And at that time, you're actually making yourself a disservice because you're changing your originality, your soul, who you really are as a brand. Because brands are organic, brands are made by people. So you need to always feed into that also.
So you made me think about something when you're saying like being of your own and not looking at what's happening outside. And it's got me thinking about values and organizational culture, right? Because the biggest foundation is that which is the values, right, of the company.
Mm,
So How does that impact employer branding?
So your values are very important to you in as much as your mission and vision and how you build your company is. It's extremely, extremely important because it actually speaks to the person that you are. So you can go anywhere, you can do anything. I think we grew up in the era where we were always told to always remember your roots. So your values are your root system. That's where you decided, okay, this is what I stand for, this is not what I go against, and this is who I am, which is extremely important when you're building an employer brand or trying to understand who you are as a brand. Find your roots and work from there because that's where everything starts. I mean, these days I've been very, very much inspired by nature. So you might hear me use nature in a lot of things. But like if you plant an orange tree, you won't expect a lemon tree coming out, right? You won't
That's
expect
true.
peach tree. It could be a grafting of both, which would be amazing, and you would find a different fruit, right? But
Yeah.
in the basis of things, you planted a seed that I'm gonna be a orange tree. And now when you go and you're a sapling and you only get your green leaves, you're like, oh, it looks like the lemon trees are having a good time. Let me go get a leaf there. Get an orange a lemon. So what happens? You always deviate from who you are. And that makes it
Yes.
back to being original into
I
who you
get
are.
you.
So you need to always look back to that okay, my North Star is always my values. These are the things that nobody should go through. So you could say, in a sense, you could call them boundaries that you don't
Yes.
go up. It's you, nothing changes as you are. This is who you are at your basic self.
So
That's basically what
you've also touched on quite a bit of the how, the deviating, the trying things and going a different direction. What steps should organizations, companies, brands take to communicate their employer brand? What advice would you give them?
so, like we mentioned, authenticity is very important, uniqueness is very important, but you need to also be true to yourself in the way you communicate. Yes, you can evolve. Yes, you can be somebody different for the day or whatever, but your communication always needs to be clear and transparent. If you are deciding now that I'm adding a lemon tree, please just tell people that, you know what, I thought lemon trees would look better.
Yeah,
I'm adding this, but it's not who I am. I'm always an orange tree, but I'm trying to be more lemony to give you more zest or to give you whatever. But I'll always be this basic thing that you want to see. um, a lot of companies call it evolving when they change into a lot of different colors, which is amazing because we love diversity, but they always forget where they started from. That one
mm,
room sitting alone and writing those things, oh, I hope this is going to work. Those are the important parts of who you are. That's why we have big companies like your Amazon who always come back to those stories. Your, is it X Nation by Elon Musk? He always comes back to how he started. He's
yes.
always, when people come and say, hi, we don't like Twitter, we don't, he always has a following because he's always coming back to who he is. So it doesn't matter if he comes in and takes something else, he will assimilate it into himself and make it better. So even if I take the lemon tree, I'm going to make it look the way I want it to look, add my oranges and fuse and create another fruit if we have to. But we'll always come back to being who we are because otherwise you lose that strength, that root
That's
that you have.
true. That's very true. But if you were to give like practical key steps, um, for someone who's starting from scratch, right? How do they communicate their employer brand internally and externally?
Number one, I think the biggest question would be what does your people promise look like? Do you have
Mm-hmm.
an EV? Because your EB employer brand is always there. It doesn't matter what you do. It's just like your sales and market. It will always be there. It doesn't matter. It's almost like your shadow. But what are your values around it? What do you represent? If you chose blue and white as your colors, how do you make that come across? How do you make your talent that likes blue and white to see you as the perfect employer of choice? So basically, it's putting yourself and your EVP into everything you do. So, like I mentioned, with transparent, saying everything transparent, being open with your communication. So, people promise is very important because organizations are made of people. So, what your values are, do your people share that with you? And can they see it from the job board? From when you write that job description, the first one I want the receptionist. Can that person see what they're putting themselves into? Can they align themselves with that? To your social media strategies, which is what's going on now. Everybody or a lot of people are being more social through social media. So you need to be showing yourself out there. Bring yourself to the party, show up in everything that you do, whether it's
Yes.
social, whether it's you going to print, whether it's just Instagram. Always show up as yourself, as your full self, and you will always have people to follow you. I mean, we have a world that's what, over 60 billion people on the world. I don't know.
We're probably in the 70s somewhere there, but I know there's a
You know,
seven. Yeah.
there's always a following. That's what I'm trying to say. That with the rapid pace that everything is changing in, don't forget yourself. Because a lot of brands, unfortunately, have found that doing that has broken themselves quite so bad that they have to start from scratch, meaning they're starting with a lot of restructuring, meaning we have a lot of people going and being retrenched because they don't really see like they fit with the new company, the thing that they see is working for them. And it's a sad space to be in, but that's what's happening because you don't understand your people and you don't put them first most of the time. We're
Yes.
looking, not looking at people, we're looking at how much they can bring us, but we're not looking at what value they bring to building our brand. So I've seen quite a lot of people complaining about it all over
Yeah.
the world. And there has to be a change. I mean, we can't keep going like this. Employer branding has been around for such a long time, even before we've come to the earth, and we're still struggling. I mean, I was reading something on the internet that said at some point people used to work 60 hours a week and it
Yeah.
went down 60 years to 50, I mean, 60 hours to
Hours.
50
Mm.
and then it went down until it got to 47 hours. And we've been stuck on 45 hours for the past 2 decades or more. By this time, those people were thinking we'd be working 12 hours, doing our own thing,
You know,
coming. But here we are, still
here
holding
we
on to.
are.
And it's also where employer branding comes in to say, don't forget who you are. Don't forget the
The
things that and the
essence.
value to people, the essence. Because unfortunately or fortunately, everywhere where you work, a corporation or everyone has a DNA that they leave with you. They
Mm-hmm.
have something that they leave with you that you can impart to other people if you decide to leave that space. So we have to have a very different view in the way that we view ourselves, not just as future employees or talent or whatever, but also as employers and organizations who give people opportunities. What do you bring to the table as well? Not just what is the other party bringing?
Yes.
That without getting out of my space and being like, oh. So that's one of the things that I've noticed. I think in the past 2 years a lot of companies have been giving people also pay raises for them,
Mm-hmm.
extra money, and then now they're seeing the after effects because the money is running out. Business is not coming in as quick as it's coming because they were thinking this person will come in and fix everything, can't they? That's not how it works.
And it's not how it works, hey? I mean, that's a brilliant point. It's not some things you just can't throw money at and expect them to just work, you know? I like how you made reference to what's happening globally, what people are doing all over. And it
Mm,
made me think about some of the key trends that we could possibly share, like a top three, as we wrap up this conversation. Of course, there's more to come, but just for this conversation, we're just giving highlights today. Um, what are those three trends that
mm.
you can share with us that we should keep in mind?
So the three trends that we should keep in mind, I don't know if this is even a trend because I think we've been saying it for quite a while. Side business, side gigs, guys. It's very important. Very important to keep that in mind. And that's where, unfortunately or fortunately, the future of the workplace is going. You need to be able to understand how you are remote and also hybrid and can handle those worlds. Because if we are demanding a world for 4 weekdays, then we need to be able to be responsible and accountable for that. Number two, the brain drain that's all over the world. What's happening with that is that it's basically a virtual migration of a lot of people. People are tired of earning just in rands and they know they can bring value or looking for work and they don't get work. So look at your world is bigger than what you think it is. expand your space. That's why we have virtual migration. People are looking for jobs or getting offers from USA while sitting in South Africa. The only difference is you'll be waking up at a different time than other people. Number three is flexibility. This is basically for both people work talent as well as employers. Try to be flexible and understand that people are people. We are trying to work together and get to the same space. And also people need to be accountable, like I said, with the flexibility and work-life balance. If people give you, if you are fortunate enough for your workplace to give you a flexible time schedule, be accountable for it. Make a good example so it continues to become something that's normal. Top three.
Wow, thank you so much. I mean, all of that makes quite like it makes sense, it resonates. And I think a lot of us are seeing some of that unfold, as we are in the middle of this war for talent. We know that people have shifted, people have evolved in their thinking, people want more. And it's up to us, right, as employer brand specialists, employer brand managers, employer brand leads, to actually think outside of the box. And as we wrap up, what does a good example look like of specialist leaders in the space that are
In the employer.
doing things differently? Yes.
So in South Africa, I was very, very impressed by R&B. Like I've never been caught up by an employer brand space like them. Mind you, they're not, I don't know if they're using any agent, but they managed to fuse what they do with how they can help people in an advert of, I think, a minute or less. And I was just blown away. Yes, I would add certain things to it, but the fact that they managed to put together talent and what they do into one space got me super excited. I was like, this is the best. I think the tagline is something like we use talent using for something I forgot, but they fused it so well together that when you look at it, you're like, oh, I would like to have a bank partner there or something. Or what work do they have? And they've done it so well to show you what they can help you with, not only as your bank manager, but also as an employer. So that got me excited. R&B. And yeah, I'm amazed it's a bank.
Wow. That's great. That's great. So any last words on your side for us as we continue this journey of unpacking employer branding?
So I think the last words I have is that people need to understand, or rather, organizations, also people in general, they need to understand where their values lie, like we're talking about. So make sure that your EVP is always on point. If you're evolving, make sure you communicate it well. As a person, ensure that your employee brand, which is the other side of employer brand, works with where you want to work. Yes, we know we all have grassroots and we want to learn and start somewhere, but make sure that you're true to yourself as well in
Oh,
where you want
yes.
to end and connect those dots between where you want to go with how you want to be there. Because some of these brands may not see you for who you are right now, but if you actually make yourself show up and be seen in the way that you want to be seen with them, there's a very good chance that you will be hired there. Show up,
And
basically.
that's all we're saying this year, hey? Just show up.
Do the little that you can. If like that faith of a mustard seed, take it everywhere you go. You'll be fine.
Thank you so much for joining me, and it's been awesome spending this time with you.
Thank you so much, Linda. Chat soon.
Thank you for joining me for this session. If you liked what you heard and believe it can help someone, please share, rate us, subscribe. Abundant blessings to you and yours. Bye.